We are here to preview day 2. But before we do day 2 at Dublin Racing Festival, we've had a little bit of a natter, and the pair of us have got some good things at Sandown. So this will be a separate video. You will not be expecting Saturday tips. So well done you for following and liking and subscribing and all that sort of stuff. Speaking of which, 2/3 of you that watch the videos aren't even subscribed to the channel. Click subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Do me a favour. Right, Jamie, I'm going to just fly straight in with the one that I fancy at Sandown, just because my show, I like to talk. But you've got 3, I think, haven't you?
I do, yeah.
Ooh, that'll keep the people going. Right, so the one that I want to just quickly draw attention to, it's in the grade 3 handicap hurdle. So emphasis really on the fact that it is a grade 3, so maybe I'm taking a bit of a punt. Well, I am taking a bit of a punt. The horse that I like is the Cobb. It's a horse that I've mentioned a few times before. I do like this horse. He won the Riverdon last year at 25-1 poke. But when he won the Riverdon, the time before, at Newbury, he was well fancied and he was beaten favourite. Funnily enough, that was on the 29th of December. This year, or last year, he ran on the 29th of December, 11-4 favourite at Doncaster, underwhelmed. And then he's going to come out and win after, is the thought process. But he was, like all jokes aside, he was very well backed the last day when he went off 11-4 favourite. Wasn't his true run in. Unfortunately, Keelan was on both times. Newbury last year, or 2 years back, and then Doncaster last year, so the December just run. Both times favourite, both times pretty poor runs. They've reached for the cheek pieces here, which I think is positive for the horse because he is very in and out. On his day, he is definitely capable of running a big race off this mark. He was 5 lengths behind Pillion, however you want to say it. That horse was about a 12-1 poke for this race. He's got a £5 swing with that horse. So on just that literal number thing, he's just way too big a price at 33. So more than anything, I just want to confirm that the Cobb, he's got form over course and distance. He does not deserve to be a 33-1 poke. He deserves to be half that price maximum. It is a very competitive race, don't get me wrong. And it's probably too classy a race for him to potentially go and win. But I do think that he's capable of his mark. Cheap pieces might be enough to help. So there'll be worse 33-1 pokes on a Saturday for you. Jamie, give the people what they really want, which is a winner.
I think Pictorial beat Lampresse in the Grade 1 Silly Isles. If you look back to the race last, God, he got away with it, Lampresse. No, very impressive at Cheltenham the last day and deserves to be, he's placed on the turners. But if you watch back the race, Ascot jumped to the right, jumped out to his right. Pictorial jumped straight as a gun barrel, won a Grade 2 at Ascot. 7-4 compared to 5-6. I think Pictorial, this is his chance. And his only chance, in my opinion, to win a Grade 1. And this is his day. I think he'll win. And I think it will. Obviously, we're coming back to the Grade 1, the form Paul Nicholls. 7 are winners in January. Not like Paul Nicholls, but I think this is Pictorial's day. Would I put anyone back in Lampresse for turners each way? No, I wouldn't. But I think this is going to be Pictorial's day. Venetia Williams is worried about the ground. That'll tell you all. So it's Pictorial for me.
Yes, definitely. And he tipped up at Newbury, didn't he, when he had the race at his mercy. Yeah. He looked like a good horse then. And I think just to touch on the form thing, because Darryl will be slating us for saying about it because he doesn't believe in it, but Nicholls does jab his horses after Christmas. Yeah. So I mean, he does well then. So like you'd think the 6 weeks that it can take for whatever for certain horses, like they'll be out of that slump now. Like he's not sending Frodon and Grenadine over to Dublin for nothing. And I think these sort of horses as well will be fine with it. So cracking shout, mate. Right, that's one up. Who's going next in the Trixie?
The Grade 3, Dave. I'll definitely take you with the Cobb on anyway.
Don't blame you.
I suppose there's 2 in here I like. And one obviously is Green Book, who was favourite for Ranzaroffi and got absolutely mullered at the second flight in the Kempton race. Now, does he really stay 3 miles up a hill at Sandown, 1-2 Mickey Mouse races? It interests me because it's Venetia Williams, bit of soft ground, good to stop. We call it yielding in Ireland. Ground at Sandown has to have a chance. The one that bugs me is inside here, and it really bugs me. Now, it's like when George Hartley said last week, and Darryl, you go and compare how much races are worth at Cheltenham. And I think this race is probably more than the Per-10s final. And it's a horse called Born Patriot, who was second to Kansas City Chief in the qualifier in November, was it? November, yeah. On good ground. This crowd love to target races. Obviously won the county yard last year with Belfast Panther. Off a mark of 135 Kevin Brogan takes 3 off. Really interests me. And I hope it does win because I really fancy it for the per temps. Really fancy it for the per temps. If it wins, it won't win the per temps. But if you have to look back, is it worth more than the per temps? Are they having a go before the per temps final? I think they are. So to me, it's Green Book each way and Born Patriot against the field. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think because last year's purse was reduced, wasn't it, because of COVID? So I think it was 42 grand for last year. 75,000 was the race.
Surely God, this hero's handicap's worth 100 grand.
Yeah, so that's it. So this is 100 grand. So like I don't know different what the prize money is for this year. So it's going to be comparative at best. Like it's not going to be much better. And I'm with you on this. Like there's lots of horses that we're trying in these handicaps. So you can have a go in more than one of them. And even if you get moved a couple of pounds, like if you're going to win one of these, you've got to have a bit up your sleeve. So do them no harm. So that's away from Leopardstown. Can we get back to Ivan, Jamie, for crying out loud? It's what the people want.
I will give you one more for the road.
Oh yeah, it was 3 you had, wasn't it?
The 330, nothing beats Farnet. It's a course specialist in my opinion. It's 4-1. It's up again, up to 137. I think it'll just win. Won by 20 lengths last day, Sandown, and 4-1. It's overpriced to me. I think it'll get up favourite. I think it'll win, and that's your nap for Sandown's Farnet for me, yeah.
Oh, well, it is interesting to see that 5-star getaway for Mr. Hinchy, who'd like to ask the question, has seen a little bit of money in that one nicely the other day, didn't it? And I'm pretty sure his Kempton run was supposedly just a prep run, but I've just said that for no other reason than to talk on TV. So we've got big races on Sunday. There are 8 of them. I'm going to say this right off the cuff so that everyone knows, fair level playing field. The handicaps was so deep and there was so many runners in there that I haven't actually gone through the handicap. So I'm going to keep fairly quiet on those. Although I will have fancies, which I'm going to post separately on a video for Twitter when the final decks are out. Like I'll do them Saturday or something like that, just as a reminder, or Sunday morning or something. So I'll keep them short. The Paddy Mullins Mayor's handicap hurdle, we had the 1-2 in this last year. We had the 1-2-4 in this. Is there anything that you fancy, Nick? Because I reckon there probably is.
I suppose, Dave, the one I fancy really is probably no price going to go up. Like I just looked there at 94.5-2 is Party Central. I think it's chucked in off 1-2-1. Honestly, I really think it's chucked in. I think it'll win. I think it'll win handy, to be honest with you. Looking at the trainer, it's probably going to be David Russell or Jack Kennedy. I suppose the 2 against her will be obviously where Glan runs. I said to you last year, that's how I got the winner. I always look at it, always to me, for these races or like the 2 mile handicap, we get on to that. The 2 races, one at Down Royal and one at Fairy House in Hatton's Grace weekend, are pointers to the 2 mile handicap hurdle. Glan is definitely worth a mention in this if it goes this way. Look like I don't think it needed a step up and trip, in my opinion. I think it might go for 2 mile handicap, so we'll get onto her later. The one against her, Party Central, will be a horse called Bride's Hill. Absolutely rocked up here at Christmas. 7.5 lengths, a really improving horse for Gavin Cromwell. The only thing is, I suppose if you look back at it, you tipped last year, heaven help us. It's the same thing about heaven help, made all and won beat Global Equity. This horse made all the last day at Leopardstown. And what beat Surprise Package, Get My Drift, Palace Rock, all of them. Form, mediocre, not too bad, but it's course consistent form. It's the same track, same distance. If it makes all and sets its own fractions, it has to be worth a bet each way against the selection. But I think Party Central will win. I think Party Central will win easy.
Nice. Well, as I say, I haven't gone through it, so I'm going to button my lips. We'll move on to the Ladbrokes Novices Chase, Grade 1, service that any of the novices will go this weekend. 2 mile 5 and a little bit. I think, because again, we don't have the final declarations, but I think if we were to quickly run through the field, I'm just going to just batter out names for the sake of battering out names. I would suspect Beacon Edge, Capodano. I don't think French Dynamite will come in, but we could do. Beacon Edge, Capodano, Fury Road, Galard de Mesnil. I mean, Gallant John Joe's going to go in a handicap somewhere, surely. Galloping de Champs, Jungle Boogie, Master McShee. They're the ones that are going to run, I think, possibly, and the ones that like would be anything.
I don't think Capodano will run, Dave.
I mean, I hope he does, just for the pure fact that
I think Capitan will go for the 10 up, yeah, at Navan, yeah.
Yeah,
To give him options because he'll qualify then for the National Chase.
Yeah, true. I mean, I'd like to see him come in, but yeah, you're right. But I don't know. When he's running so many in that Arkle, but so we won't talk about too much Capodanno.
You mentioned a horse there that, to be honest with you, I think has a right chance against Galopin Des Champs. I think he's overpriced.
Jungle Boogie?
Nope.
Oh, he's not overpriced anyways. He's a 5-1 point. Go on, then you jump into it because I think when I did the Banker Bismarck thing, Galopin Des Champs is overwhelmingly well fancied with this. And to be honest with you, I know you're going to make a case for a price against something, but I don't think there's anybody really out there that doesn't expect Galopin Des Champs to win this race.
Oh well, I agree with you there. Obviously, this is the star. Obviously, Ruby, the liar, Walsh is trying to get this big match between Bob Ollinger and Galopin Des Champs. I don't understand it, to be honest with you, because he was there preaching for years that Willie Mullins runs the horse that will win the race. Obviously, I always wanted Q Vega to go up against big bucks, but that was obviously never going to happen because Ruby Walsh had the same. And he always says Willie Mullins puts the horse in to win a race that it's going to win. So Galopin Des Champs will beat the High Senior and Brave Man's Game, in my opinion. I think Jungle Boogie is a good horse, but I don't think he's good enough, in my opinion. Probably end up with the Turners, whatever. French Dynamite was very impressive on David. Very impressive. The only thing, in my opinion, is he very hard to train because you haven't seen him since that was November. Haven't seen him since. 25-1 is huge. It's massive, in my opinion. The way he travelled, jumped like a stag, 25-1 against 8-15. We're going back to the Muggy each way again, Dave. The Muggy each way. But 25-1. I thought this horse would be at least 10-1 less. To be honest with you, the winner is Galopin Des Champs. I just have to back it now. 25-1. If it doesn't run, it doesn't run. But 25-1 each way is well overpriced for French Dynamite because he was very impressive when he's bigger in his chase. It's just my opinion. You get a fifth. That's a 5-1 winner. Anti-post or quarter. No, sorry, you get anti-post. It's my selection against Galopin. Galopin will win, but French Dynamite is overpriced 25-1 in my opinion.
Like it. And to be fair, yeah, because it was his second chase start winning French Dynamite. He was behind Kate Gentleman before, but yeah, he was pretty good. And he comes in I think when we back off his hurdle form as well as a 150-ish horse. You can get 33s about him. So
that day, the only thing that sticks in my head that day, Dave, was that the fact of the matter, Bob Ollinger was supposed to run in the beginner's chase against him, and they pulled him out because they knew they were going to win with either or.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, so I think this is interesting because just because there is things about other horses. We all know, we mentioned it before. We like Jungle Boogie as a horse, didn't we? I think in terms of actually winning this, Galopin Des Champs should win it. When we talk about the easiest race to go to, I think he'll beat Bob. To be honest with you, because
who will beat Bob?
I reckon Galopin Des Champs would do Bob.
Oh yeah, well I agree with you there. That's the thing. I think if Galopin Des Champs runs, it'll beat Bob because it jumps way better.
It's mental as well because it's not going to happen. But you shove let's just Brave Man's Game might be you're going to hate it for me saying this, but let's just say throw those three horses into a hat: Galopin Des Champs, Brave Man's Game, and Bob Ollinger, and obviously split them between the two races, an RSA and a Turners. Bob Ollinger and Brave Man's Game might not really want an RSA, but if Galopin Des Champs wasn't there, it would be a weak enough race that they could probably both get away with it.
The only thing is, Dave, if they think Galopin Des Champs is good enough to beat Bob Ollinger, they think Capodanno is a good horse.
Well, that's what I mean, and that's the thing with it. I think they know that if Capodanno got within 4.5 lengths of him, then they know that Galopin Des Champs got to be 10 lengths or whatever better than Capodanno. So I wonder whether it actually the opposite way. I feel like whether it puts a bit of the ceiling on Capodanno, which is why I don't think they'll run him in here. But they could run him in it as the yardstick for how close Bob Ollinger is. Literally just use him as a yardstick for Galopin Des Champs in race terms. But Galopin Des Champs should win. Let's hope that just happens and hope he goes in there. The RSA thing, as much as he's been anti-post favourite for that race, just want to mention that it's not always 100% been confirmed that's where he's going to go. Willie Munn has just said that they're probably going to go down the Don Pody route. But after he won that debut, you can see in their reactions, everyone connected to the yard did not expect him to win as he did and be that quick because all of a sudden he's nothing like Don Pody anymore. He's just a proper proper. I'm not saying Don Poly's not a proper horse, but like a different type of horse. He is only a 6-year-old. Don Poly is the last 6-year-old to win the RSA. I think Florida Pearl probably did it for Willie Mullins before that. But like it's not your typical thing to do with a 6-year-old to go for an RSA. And like I said, I know Willie's done it. And we know that he's going to send him to the race where we think he's got the best chance. And I don't think Bob Mullins is enough to scare anyone
The only
off.
The only thing is, Dave, all of Willie Mullins' RSA Chase winners have run in this race.
Exactly.
And I go back to Cool Line there, who had a great fitness there one year, probably best Wednesday I ever had. Cheltenham, Michael Dagenais won, Cool Line won, Mastermind won. Was it Dunguib won that day? I had a great day that day. But he always seems the RSA horse runs in this race, regardless if it's 2-5 or not.
Oh yeah, and the thing is with I guess people that have backed him in the festival, obviously Chase, they're getting a bit arse twitchy, are probably thinking, "Oh, I want him."
Well, I am because I'm on 11-2, 6-1. I'll crack if he doesn't run the RSA.
Well, I'll make the assumption, and you can answer whether I'm right or not. But I would imagine that people that are sitting like that are probably hoping that he doesn't win this emphatically, because it will then suggest that he wants a bit further. Whereas I don't think it matters. I'd rather, if he wins this, Willie's going to do what he's going to do with him anyway.
It'll be the same as Monkfish. He's going to do the same thing. You know, Willie's a creature of habit, and I'm getting back to Ruby Walsh is stirring the pot. He's getting paid a lot of money from Paddy Power. Fair play to him. No begrudging. But he's turned the pot. If I was to say if Bob Ollinger jumped better than Galopin de Champs, same kind of jumper as him, I'd be up with Bob Ollinger. Faster horse. But it's because everyone's questioned Bob's jumping. But Bob didn't jump well in a Grade 1. Lauder's Nace Hotel. Beat Blue Lord. There's your collateral form. Right? But then when he went to Cheltenham, did he touch a twig when he beat Brave Man's Game and a very disappointing horse, Gallard the Meal of Willie Mullins? There's your answer. I think Bob Ollinger, I think they're lying, to be honest with you. They always say to me, it needs a bit of cut in the ground. They say the same at Honeysuckle. Look at Honeysuckle and the way it runs in like a Ferryhouse. Ferryhouse is like a road every day in December for Hatton's Grace Day, right? I think they're lying. Bob Ollinger is better on better ground. And I think the speed, probably the fastest horse in training, probably Bob Ollinger might be total nonsense, right? But it's just the afterburners like Shishkin has the same kind of, looks like it's beat, but all of a sudden, boom, gone. And that's why I think Bob Ollinger, no matter how slow or fast or indifferent it jumps, it'll still win the tournament.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, the main reason why he's gone straight to Cheltenham is Henry's not worried about the jumping or anything like that, but he didn't want to run him in this race. I don't think he wanted to run him against Gallup in the shop. Like, he probably knows that this is Willie Mullins' race to go in, and he doesn't want to go against him. And I know you could potentially look at other options and things that are out there, but they know what they're doing with him. And I don't know. I feel like this season with Bob Ollinger, they're probably thinking more along the lines of, they don't want him to get beat at Cheltenham, but if he gets beat, I think they want to race him again after. The
biggest question for the viewers, Dave, and you put it up on Twitter or whatever you want, the biggest question is, we all know Bob Ollinger is a good horse, right? There's no question of that.
No.
But what would you say, where is he going next year? Is he going to be a Champion Chase horse, or is he going to be a Gold Cup horse? I think he's going to be a Gold Cup horse, in my opinion. I think he'll stay 3 miles, not a bother in the world, because he'll crack up on all those, rock up in all those good Grade 1 fixtures in Ireland. The extra 2 furlongs is my problem, the Gold Cup, but I think he just has so many gears. You can put him anywhere. That's just my opinion. I think he's next year's Gold Cup.
I'll answer that. He'll be in the Stairs Hurdle next year.
Because he can't jump out of the fence. Yeah, maybe.
That's the only thing with him. We'll have to see with him. But yeah, for this race, as we've analysed it here, there isn't a moment I don't think that anybody would possibly think in their right minds that Caliph and Shop will lose this race. But with that said, he isn't invincible. It's off the back of one run, but he does look pretty good. And again, we were talking about steaming into shorties. I mean, he's 4-7, and I would never advocate it, but you wouldn't expect him to get beat. But it is a novice check, let's be honest.
Well, we get on to the next race there, but a lot of people will do the treble on the day to cover their boom dooms, as I say it. Not to be smart, be Gallop against Shackle and Honeysuckle.
Well, we're going to move on to that then. We'll move on to the Dublin Chase, because me and you have got very different opinions in here. So I'm going to let you crack on, and then I'm going to tell you how wrong you are.
This is Grenadine's day to shine. I think it is. I really think it is. 3-1. I'm going to back it each way. If I lose, I'm going to lose Quarter of my bet each way. Fair enough. 3-1, quarter of the odds. I think this is Grenadine's race. I really do, because the ground will suit him. They're watering, obviously, it's yielding, but it's artificial watering. So there is a bit of rain forecast, obviously, in Dublin for the next couple, but it's nothing like. It's not even more than 10 millimetres. Like, that's different if you go down to Limerick or Cork or Tramore and all these places. They'll get into the ground, but it's not going to get into the ground in Leopardstown. So forget about natural rain. It's all about the artificial rain of watering, right? So, look, I suppose I'm cribbing Paul Nichols that his form is crap, but I honestly think it beat it at Sandown. Shack and Baswar had its ground conditions at Sandown in the Tingle Creek, and still, no, bad traveller, probably is. 3-1. Oh, I think, look, I'm going to be a dope, Dave. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the treble, cover my arse, but I'm going to back Grenadine on the day. 100%. This is Grenadine's race. If it's going to be Shackon again, it's his chance. Like, if you put Grenadine to Punchestown now in May on good ground, Shackon is going to go in because it'll go out in front. It's a speed track, Punchestown. Leopardstown is a stairs track. In my mind. Now, it's one of the last two races. What am I talking about? But I think this is Grenadine's race. I might be talking total nonsense. Nonsense, probably. But I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to have to cover travel, being a cop-out, basically. But I'm going to back Grenadine. Yeah, I think Grenadine will win.
Yeah, and I can't blame you. And what I'm really, really, really hoping for is that more people are like you. And what I want people to say that Captain Guinness is the muggy each way bet. I want people to say that Grenadine's the one that's going to win the race. And I want Chacun Poursuiv's price to go out, because when I talked at the beginning of the season about changing the way that I'm betting a little bit, he's approaching more. I've got a price in mind. It may not get there. I possibly might get there on the exchanges because I think people are going to try and take him on. But if I can get 6-4 about Chacun Poursuiv, which I might get on the exchanges because I think people might want to take him on, depends on the bookies I have on day one. I'm lit. I'm going to flip my lid and I'm going to have a chunk on. So I've left that as that's my price, 2.5. I'll stick a chunk up on Betfair nearer the time on the Sunday, unless it comes up before and I'll back it with the bookies. But yes, the Sandown run is, you'd say it's almost impossible to ignore, but I wouldn't say it's impossible to ignore. This is no offence to Patrick Mullins, but there's a number of excuses you could make for Chacun Poursuiv at certain cases. So like Cheltenham, he definitely travelled like the horse that was going to win the race, and either didn't get up the hill. They've talked about wanting to change tactics. I don't think it was the travel that completely ruined him, but it may have been. But you look at Monkfish. Monkfish didn't run that great, but still got away with it. So you could argue that year, when a couple of horses travelled over, they maybe didn't enjoy it so much. The Sandown thing, like, he lost a toe, didn't he? As much as it's not something that we'd understand so much. Like, it wasn't him in the slightest.
But that's the problem, Dave. He's lost a toe.
And he's had
he's a very lightly raced horse, obviously, right? I suppose when he jumped on the scene, he beat Deputy Side by 11 lengths in Punchestown. Electric. No, it was electric, right? But he's such a fragile horse. Will he come back from that? To me, no. I love him. I was very deep in him last year in the Champion Chase, but like, he'll get away with it here because it's obviously a flatter track, but he has absolutely no chance of winning. Like, I love these people. The muggy each way betters. We're doing muggy. We're contradicting ourselves here, but the muggy each way bets. But like, he's absolutely no chance to. Newbie Negra will beat him at 10.
Absolutely, and I agree. I don't think he's got a chance at Cheltenham. But the thing is, we talk about horses having their targets. Like we say with Kemboy, this is the place that he's going to go and do it at. They're going to go for him at Cheltenham, and now he got close enough to Shishkin. Like, Willie, if he flops here, Willie won't even send him to Cheltenham. But Willie wants to win that Champion Chase. I think he's going to run in there regardless. His head, it's the last chance for him to do it.
The only thing is with the sorry, cutting across it. The only thing is, right, I look back at the race of the Nergamine and Shishkin. Look, Shishkin should have been on the floor, jumped badly. If an Nergamine is going to win the Champion Chase, it's like a furlong and a half less than Ascot race. That's the only way it's going to beat Shishkin, because it's a different and go faster than he did in Ascot and burn the steam out of Shishkin. Get Shishkin's jumping out of his comfort zone. That's why Energumene has a chance to reverse the form. But Chacon Pressoir might be a fly in the ointment because it's less than 2 miles to race. So that might just bolt out in front. And see what happens. Like Punchestown that day, got a soft lead. You know what I mean? So you just don't know.
But this is where, I know we've deviated a bit into Cheltenham, but I'm as confident as you can possibly be, right? Yes, we've got to put the line through Sandown. Yes, he had a muscle strain at Christmas, but like Nicky Henderson, like any top trainer will do, they're not going to run the horses unless they're completely sound because they want them to win. Like when he ran Valtor in the Ryanair, he wasn't fucking 90%. Willie would not run a horse who was 90%, and he would have won the Gold Cup. They were just scared that those extra 7 furlongs or whatever it would have been, extra 5 furlongs would have caused a difference. But that's by the by. Chacon Poursoir is not. There will be nothing wrong with him. He hasn't got to travel this time. His run at Punchestown, which was a bet last year, where I messaged a couple of my mates and I said, look, I'm not doing the anti-post next year. I want to start steaming into some horses. And I said, this is the prime example because of what Allaho did in the Ryanair. We're going to get a price about Chacon Poursoir. I'm going to fucking unload him at 13 to 8. Still went off at 65. There was still equity and Betfair exchanges for him after. But look at what Allaho's done since then. I know you can argue it's a different trip, but Chacon Poursoir went out on his own because he had no competition in the lead, although Allaho could have done that at the Ryanair. We saw how quick he was. He tried to dispute the lead a little bit, and Rachel Blackmore, like I say, got the better report down into Cheltenham doing it. But Chacon Poursoir is absolutely rapid. So as far as I'm concerned, and he's going to get an easy lead.
He's rapid around a speed track, yeah.
And he'll get it here. But Captain Guinness, Grenadine are both hold-up horses. So Chacon Poursoir is going to have things his complete and utter own way. And this, Bryony's a great jockey, don't get me wrong, but I think she gets the best out of horses when she's in front. Grenadine's best form's at Sandown, so going the other way around, and that's a very niche track. So I just genuinely think that performance at Punchestown, because Energumene and Shishkin were stepping up into open company, they've proved it now they're good because First Flow is the yardstick that he is, 19 lengths behind, does make them probably 170s horses. But Chacon Poursoir at the start of this season, for me, was still the best 2-miler in training. Admittedly, you've got to put the line through the Sandown thing. You've got to just trust that that's gone, and you've got to trust that his muscle tear's gone. But that's where I'm saying that I'm happy to take that punt. If he goes odds against, if I get 6-4, I'm happy to take.
I think he'll get even money on the day now.
But I can't think of, I know there has been Forheen had it for a bit, didn't he? Where he pulled up and I thought he was going to retire and then he came back over fences. Someone will be able to quote me on this, hopefully. I can't think of very many Willie Mullins horses where he sent one out after there's been any sort of something about them, they've had a fall, something's happened to him before. And I can't think of any Willie Mullins horse that he sent out after something's happened like this, where he's got it wrong. They've gone out and they've pulled up. You don't see it happen. And he's very mindful of his horses. You see how infrequently he runs even horses like this. He's not going to run them if they're not ready. Appreciate it. Had his season off before his hurdles. Has missed most of this season. He's only going to run him in races that they can win. I feel like this is a race where people are going to look back and say, how the fuck did we let Chacon Poursoir go off even money against this pile of shit? And it sounds bad, like I'm being disrespectful with everything else, but we know he didn't run his race in the Tingle Creek, so everyone can agree that. Take the Tingle Creek race out of it, so take Chacon Poursoir didn't run his race, that's gone. Grenadine has done nothing to suggest that he's in the same league. You could say he's probably a low 160s horse, but Chacon Poursoir, I would say, is at least half a stone, if not £10 better horse than him. Everything else in the race...
Just cover with the treble, Dave. Just cover with the treble.
But everything else isn't even touching 160s as far as I'm concerned. And this is where, when people were talking about First Flow and Energumene Shishkin, it's not just a match. Be respectful of these other horses. Yes, don't get me wrong. They are legendary horses. They are very good. But there is a whole different step up in level to when you get to the top tier. And you Chacon Poursoir, regardless of what we did at Sandown, is a top tier horse. Like I say, Cheltenham, there's potential excuses. Sandown, there's definitely an excuse. But if you look at all these runs before that, what he used to do to Min as well, and you say, he did it to Deffy after what Deffy had done. He's battered some serious horses. I genuinely think Chacon was a knocking bet. Like I say, if I can get 6-4, is going to be set on the exchanges for an absolute chunk. So you can all laugh if he gets turned over, but he fucking won't, will he? He'll absolutely dot up, and he's going to go out in front, so there'll be a chance to arb him in running. Not that I'll do that. If I can't get the 6-4, I'm still going to back him. I just won't go as heavy. But I think 5-6 isn't a bad price. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get even money or bigger. But I would just I would just suggest to anybody out there, like, don't let me put you off backing something else, but please just have a think about how good he is. Just go back and watch the Punchestown one. And I know you can also, it was a whole season ago, that sort of stuff. Just think it's Willie Mullins. Willie knows better. Willie knows better than anybody else.
Willie knows better.
He's not going to get a 5 to 6 poke pulled up at the Dublin Festival. And I think that's the reality as well. Like, not to put words in your mouth, but the Grenadine bet, like you say, is the scummy each way bet. But if Chacun Pour Soi doesn't pull up, so he's sound and he's fine, he wins, doesn't he? Like, does he either wins or he doesn't finish? Because I can't see how he's going to just run a mediocre race.
Well, he wins or he doesn't finish it.
Yeah, so that's my thinking with it, because I don't think he's like past it. It's just whether he's like completely and utterly gone. And like I say, with that in mind, I trust that Willie's doesn't think he is. So yeah, it's a long way to talk around it, but these are the sort of bets which are going to come back and bite me after, because he's not coming into the same sort of form. But these are the sort of ones where I'm going to get very excited to hopefully steam into one, because he's borderline the price that I want to smash into him. So fingers crossed we get it. Anyway, if anyone's still watching after that debacle, I'm going to just take a little breath. So another handicap. So I haven't really looked at it. There are some proper horses in this race, though. So hopefully you've got one you like, Jamie.
This is my handicap nap of the whole meeting. And it's ex-Nicky Henderson horse. It was fancied a lot for an Albert Bartlett once upon a time. For a Carl Cup 2 years in a row. I think this is absolutely, if he gets in and he runs, Birchtail is an absolute good thing. Absolute good thing. He's 8-1 now. If you watch back the Paddy Power Chase, I backed the winner, Schoolboy Hours. He was second to horse that I backed in the Kerry National. It was Ben Dundee. It was fourth to Assemble. Just watch the race back, Dave. Just watch the race back. He travelled like the best horse in the race. And the buzzer, hopefully he's got like Conor Maxwell was on it that day. Well, if he's on him again, fair enough. Hopefully if he's learned, he's lessened, because he travelled like too good of a horse. Do you know what I mean? So it's Birchtail. I think Birchtail will win. I don't care about anything else in the field. If Birchtail runs, he'll win.
I'm just looking at my phone now, rudely as I am. Henry de Bromhead talked in his stable talk, and I'm sure he mentioned men at the time. So I don't know whether he mentioned he wasn't going to run or he was going to run. The only reason I was checking that is because currently Birchtail is £4 out the handicap. So if men at the time he runs, he's top weight, he will be £4 out the handicap. Is that anything that concerns you a bit?
No. This horse will win.
Oh, see, that's what we want. And this is again something else, like, not necessarily saying you're definitely getting it right here, but I'm sure you will. When we're talking about horses winning these handicaps, especially the big prize money ones, yes, we know that people will plot and all those sort of things, but you've really legitimately got to be looking at a horse that you think has so much in hand that those couple of pounds don't make a difference. Like, you don't want to have a claimant that's on board that claims that extra £1 can make a difference. They need to have, I always say this, you need to have half a stone in hand to win a handicap, and you need £10 in hand to win a good handicap. So like there, if he's £4 out, must have enough up his sleeve. Go on the Jamie. Right, we're going to nip onto the Irish Champion Hurdle now. Again, one that I don't think there's anyone really out there that thinks the Honeysuckle's going to get beat. I'm really bad with like snobbiness, sexism and stuff like that when it comes to racing. I probably pronounce it more than I actually mean it. But Henry de Bromhead has suggested that Honeysuckle probably is coming into her prime. She is 8, so let's be honest, she's 7, just turned 8. So she's still a whippersnapper, really, when I'm talking about going balls deep into Chacun Pour Soi. And then we were talking about some other horses in races. Look at West Approach today for Colin Tizard going in at 12. But anywho, so she's a preacher. Like, there's no reason why she should be on any sort of decline. I'm just always, like, I know there's Quavega and there's other ones that have like sustained it, but I'm always just a little bit worried about mares and their sustainability, whether their longevity lasts as long. And I know there's like dawn runs, all that. So there's lots of them. There's reasons to just ignore that. I still can never get out of my mind that Champion Hurdle here where Dava Star got so close to her. And I know probably tactically, because last year it was a bit different, and she like shit home in the race last year. So hopefully we're more of the same for that. But that was on really, really bad ground. It's like, it was classed as soft stroke heavy over in Ireland, but I would suggest that it was really bad ground. Obviously the Hatton's Grace that she came out and won, and obviously she was going to shit home in that. is over 2.5, so that was on good ground, that's fine. But that year where Darva Star got within half a length, that was on yielding. So my point that I'm trying to make is she is a monster of a mare. There is absolutely no doubt in that. She beat Benny over 2.5, and Benny is a 2.5 miler, probably maybe even a 3 miler. And I know Benny maybe could have reversed it, but that's neither here nor there. I'm the tiny bit worried for Honeysuckle, given the fact that the ground is this quick. The fact that Darva Star got close. And I know there's not much depth in the racing behind, because I appreciate it's not going to run. And I kind of don't blame Willie for not doing that, because I'm not even sure if we'll see Appreciate this season. Like they'll go
not running.
Well, I don't think he's going to run. They're looking at running him on Red Mills Day or the
Gorham
weekend.
Park, Red Mills Day. Yeah. Look.
So I think like Darva's, like, no disrespect to Darva Star, but it is what I'm going to say sounds disrespectful. Like, he shouldn't have been able to get close to her. So obviously, we've appreciated not running, given what he did in that Supreme, looks like a monster. You'd think he'd give him a race. But I genuinely think, and it's a 5-year-old thing that would annoy me at Cheltenham, but remember Connor, how close he started getting to Hurricane Fly. And obviously in that Champion, we'll never know what would happen when he was ill-fated. But a juvenile that then goes and takes on an absolute legend of a horse, and not saying that Sharjah and Hurricane Fly are in this, like, the same caliber, but if you're taking on a very smart 2-miler when you come out of it and you can get near them, you're a proper horse as far as I'm concerned. Zana here, 3 lengths behind Sharjah at Punchestown, only a neck beating in that Matheson hurdle that Sharjah farms. And I know you could argue that he could have won it by a little bit more, but this horse is progressing at an absolute rapid rates of knots. And I do think that the better ground won't be as much of an inconvenience to him as it potentially could be for Honeysuckle. So all I'm basically going for a very long roundabout way is I think Honeysuckle should win because she's so much better and she gets the mare's allowance. Like, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't be a massive shock to me if Zana here turned over Honeysuckle. But in saying that, he's a 7-1 poke. I would say that's probably about right. Like, this race would have to be run 8 times. I think Honeysuckle would still battle out 7 of them, but it's not. She's not an absolute guaranteed cert. But then she is a 4-11 poke. Am I just being completely and utterly bonkers because of the ground being a bit quicker, or is there anything in it, do you reckon?
You finally lost the plot, Dave.
Finally
lost the plot. She'll rock up. I just want Appreciate to go up against her, but look, it doesn't make a difference if Appreciate goes up against her, because Appreciate will be the first run of the season. William is probably going to do this after option. It's going to be a 4-runner poke. You're not going to learn nothing, to be honest with you. As I said, cover your ass with Shotgun, Gallopin, and Honeysuckle. If you want to do that, it's up to yourself. She'll win. She'll win easy. She'll win the Champion Hurdle. And on to Punchestown then, she's a machine. She really is a great horse. She's one of the great.
She is. And I'm not trying to like poo-poo it for the sake of it.
I'm going to be controversial. If the 2 of them rocked up, the 3 of them, the 3 greatest mares bar Dawn Run, were Q Vega, Any Power,
Benny,
and Honeysuckle, right? If you back the 3 of them in a Champion Hurdle, I'd be all over Any Power, because she was just a better horse. She was mugged off by Ruby Walsh, Stairs Hurdle, Mare's Hurdle, but she had won a Mare's Hurdle. There's no doubt about that. But she has still clocked the fastest time in the Champion Hurdle of 3 minutes 45. That's why I always took on Epitome. Obviously, Epitome on a weak Champion Hurdle. Sharjah should have won that Champion Hurdle. 4 minutes 7, Epitome getting £7. Any Power won at 3 minutes 45. Do your maths. Do you know what I mean? What a horse Any Power was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just, it's sad the way it went. I mean, Any Power should have won. Bar, if there was no Faugheen, Vautour, Duvan, all of them. Any Power could have been a 3-time Champion Hurdler. Do you know what I mean? Sharjah could have been the same thing with no mare, if you know what I mean. That's just the way things work out.
And this is where I agree with you, and this is where I'm essentially slating a horse, but I don't really want to. And I'm talking about the tiers of horses. Like, you can get really, really smart horses that the division's maybe a little bit weaker, but you go to Any Power, bar the time that she fell over the shadow, nothing got close to her. So I've pulled it up on Racing Post now. Like, she got beaten that stairs otherwise she shouldn't have gone that far. 3 1/4 lengths was the closest anything got to her, but she won it comfortably. Other than that, nothing could get near her. And that's that. Like I said, that's the only reason why people. I know. Like she's most likely to win, isn't she? She's a 1-3 poke. But I just think it's definitely worth mentioning that on a couple of occasions, she's just done enough. Ronald Pump got within half a length. Darva Star got within half a length. Benny Juju with a better ride could have beaten her in the mare's hurdle. Like as much as she's on this massive streak, she's never been beaten, and she clearly is an absolute worldie. She is not unbeatable that everyone thinks she is.
Maybe not, but she'll win. Right, so grade 1 novice.
I know, but the last thing I'll say on it is I would say that like if she's going to lose somewhere, this will be it. And I'd rather appreciate it was in here, but like you say, we'd excuse that first one. I trust Willie's judgment over anything. Like if Willie doesn't want to run him, if he ran him just because we peer pressured him, he's not going to win. I'm just glad that Zanahir's in here because Zanahir has shown enough. If you end up having such a weak race where you've only got 140s in there, then by default she can't lose because she's so far clear. And she is so far clear of Zanahir technically, but he's capable of running the 160s, is what I'm trying to say. And I think she could, if she's going to get beat, he'll be in here, but she probably won't get beat. I'll have a very small token bet on Zanahir. And the thing is, I'll back him on the exchanges with a view to laying him in running, but I possibly might back Honeysuckle. I mean, lay to back Honeysuckle. Who knows? I'll be doing something. I'll be taking on the bitch that's Honeysuckle. I love her anyway. Right, the novice head of the grade 1. You're going to have a very different view to me in this. This is a race that I'm not massively fussed about because I just want to watch it and see how it comes out after because I think we've already seen the best horses for the Supreme. Although, all of that said, I really do think Statuary is being like disgustingly underrated by people for the mare's novice for the pure fact she's 7-1 for this fucking race and she's 8-1 for the mare's novice. This race here, when we talk about horses like Sir Gerhard here and there, she's running against mares in the other one. So that's my first and foremost in this. Statuary will not win this race.
Before you start now in your mare's rant, Dave, right? Rant, I'm going to call it, right? The race the last day, the Salarino, right? Would you back Allegory Devasti to win the mare's novice? Would you? No, nope. Chaser, right? Would you trust Brandy Love?
Nope.
I honestly think Grangie would have won the race. You might think I'm absolutely mad because it travels behind the bridle, loves a fast pace, and Cooper drove her into it, looking for a good jump. She stumbled on landing. I still think she'd have won the race. That's just my opinion. It's bad now, right? When coming down on, I think LA Bell is a certainty for the mare's novice.
She's not. Statuary. Going back to my point, Statuary is 7-1 for this grade 1. That's a notoriously very strong grade 1 that leads on to being Supreme type horses. Yet she's a bigger price to win the mare's novice in March, which is a piss race. The point I'm just saying with that is just to really echo, regardless of how she runs in this, smash her up for the mare's novice. She's a stupid price. It's ridiculous. And it doesn't even matter how she runs in this. She's the wrong price. Anywho, I digress. If you bet 365, then non-winner no bet and best odds guaranteed. So if worse comes to worse and she was to go for a bigger price, do it. But just get your granny's bet 365 account and hammer into Statuary for the mare's novice. Anywho, we're going to have a different view on this. I would probably say, as much as I dislike this horse when it comes to a view to Cheltenham, I think 6-4 Sir Gerhard is fair, to be honest with you. And I possibly won't be having a bet in the race. But if I was going to have a bet, I'd chuck a score at Sir Gerhard because I don't think he's a bad price at 6-4. But you'll disagree, no doubt.
No, well, yeah, in a way, 6-4 is pants in my opinion. Because I think we saw a better horse at Limerick during the week in State Man. Because I think State Man's better than Sir Gerhard, in my opinion. Because look at the form.
State Man's half brother to Statuary.
The mind Statuary is not. Statuary has no chance of Cheltenham, Dave. Forget about Statuary.
She's going to win the mare. Go on, the mare.
Not a hope. Sorry. Not a hope. But anyway, Sir Gerhard, I suppose, will go out in front. Catch me if you can. And jumps like a good thing. Everyone forgets it's a bumper winner. I suppose the talking horse here is Fabiolo. A flying delightment, in my opinion. I don't think she's good. He is good enough to win. Runs in the race that William wins targets for handicaps in Tremor. My mate Mozzie doesn't like going left-handed, in my opinion. Apparently, Mighty Potter's going straight for the Supreme or the Ballymore, in my opinion. Now, you know me, and we talked offline, and I'm a sucker for Three Stripe Life. I'm a sucker for it. And you think I'm mad? I've backed 2 horses for the Ballymore, both at 25-1. And if they end up in Supreme, I give up backing horses. One is Dysart Dynamo at 25-1.
Should have asked me.
Dysart Dynamo at 25-1 for the Ballymore. And so did I back Three Stripe Life for the Ballymores at 25-1. If Sir Gerhard wins and Three Stripe Life is close up, I'm absolutely delighted, because the fact of the matter is, after the bumper run last year, 4th, so it's all tied in. Kilcrud, Sir Gerhard, LA Bell, who I think will win the Mayor's Novice, and Three Stripe Life. I think if Three Stripe Life runs and is not quick enough to beat Sir Gerhard, I'm delighted, because I'm on a good price for the Ballymore to cover my bet with Dysart Dynamo.
So looking at this
Three
race,
Stripe Life me each way, 5-1.
But that's it. Yeah, it's the muggy each way one again, isn't it? That it's that sort of price. And I think, like I say, if I was forced to have the bet, I would think Segard at that sort of price is okay. But this is one I'm more than happy just to sit back and watch. Very similarly to that Irish Arkle. Like, I think we'll get more information from watching than you will from having a score, because especially it's different for different people depending on your stakes. Like, I'd have a score on Sir Gerhard, but I might end up having a few £100 on Shackleford as well. Well, if he goes a bigger price, I have a bit more. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. The bet's more like a token gesture. However, even if I have a £5 on a horse, I'm swayed when I'm watching the race that I've backed it, and you're like a tiny bit biased when you're reviewing things after. So sometimes it is a lot better to not have any financial interest, sit back, and if you would have backed at a £5 on the winner or a score on the winner at 6-4, you lost £30. Who cares? It's better to have that information, I think. But the last thing I'll say on it is Statuette for the mare. Like, whether she wins or she doesn't, she's the wrong price at all. The way she's priced for this race and the way she's priced for Cheltenham, it's just grossly wrong. So I hope she does run in here, but on that token, I can't really see her doing anything better than coming 4th. Might be a few lengths behind, but don't think that'll make a difference to her price. She can't win this, can she?
She's no chance in the Mayor's or this race, so move on.
Stop being so rude about her. I love her. I literally love her. I want to marry her. Right, the Liffey Handicap Hurdle. I'll leave. Oh, there's some names in here.
Great race.
You've already mentioned Glan that probably will come here, but Champagne Gold, we both tipped up last year, comes second. Was it this race? I think second.
All I know. You tipped Champagne Gold. I tipped the winner.
Oh no, you did. Sorry, you bugged me off. Right, so anywho, but yeah, so Champagne Gold, Magic Tricks, there's some good names. Ballyadam, Esky Lane, look at them all. Right, I'm just reading out names that no one needs me to do. You have an opinion in this. Tell us what you fancy, Jamie.
I suppose, Dave, it'll all depend if Glan runs here than the Mayor's Novice. Mayor's Handicap Hurdle on the first race of the day. I thought, to be honest with you, go the large one. As I said to you, I based this race on the 2 best 2-mile handicaps hurdles of the whole year. One's downright, Esky Lane, rocked up. 145 now for Esky Lane, but a tax at Cheltenham, 150, 148. Is it going to be winning here? No. Right? Glan, Luke Dempsey giving an offer right last day. An offer right. Look, you saw Rachel. Rachel cut through the field. Luke Dempsey did the same thing, tried to follow her all the way up the straight, got checked. And then Rachel saw the better gap. So Glan is definitely a bet in here if it runs. I think it's a cracking bet at 14-1. Cracking bet, right? I suppose the other one that we'll have the questions from the crowd. Mr. David Jennings, he'll kid me now if he sees me at the Dublin Racing Festival. I don't care. A big fraud, in my opinion. But he tips a horse that I fancy. He must be the biggest Joan of all time. He's definitely reads my mind. Castmate has to have a chance here. Like, if you think you're preaching about Zanny here going up against Honeysuckle, this horse is 20 pounds less than Zanny here. Got to the second last at Downride in the race, the WKD hurdle at Downride. Yeah. Was in receipt of £5 for it. 139. Senior is now 159. Look, progressive horse Senior, younger horse, going to be a monster over fences. There's no question of that. But like 139 Castmate, who I always thought is crying out for an absolute monster gallop. Has to be a cracking bet here, 8-1. So it's Castmate and Glan for me each way.
Lovely. So just for me, chucking 2 pennies before we go into the bumper, all of this stuff intertwines and I love it, but and like literally you're going to slap me through the screen if you could. But do you know the collateral lines of form? When just because you mentioned Castmate, when you mentioned him before, do you remember Castmate when he got beaten in a novice grade 1 by Ballyadam?
I know, but the only thing is, Dave, I understand that Ballyadam's going to probably run in this race because it was shit in obviously the international hurdle, right? The only thing is Ballyadam set its own fractions that day. It doesn't suit Castmate. This horse needs an end-to-end gallop. No one needs a great trainer.
It's just the only thing that, like, just looking at it now, and I need to dig into it more. And I'm making an argument over literally just having an argument for the sake of it. But Ballyadam hasn't just, like, I know he has been running shit and he seems like he's lost the plot, but he just didn't like chasing, did he? They sent him over for the international hurdle. He was so shit in the Supreme. Maybe he doesn't travel. Maybe he doesn't like Cheltenham. And admittedly, I'll talk about that stuff. Twice he was behind Appreciate at Leopardstown. Like, I think Leopardstown form is crucial for winning at Leopardstown. Like, it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but it's like some horses like it, some horses don't. It's very mild. There's no in between. But Ballyadam, the biggest price he's ever gone off was 10-1 at Leopardstown at Dublin Chase Festival, where he got beaten by Appreciate It. He is now potentially a 33-1 poke on handicap debut. Like, it's one of those that, do I think he'll win the race? Probably not. Do I think he's a stupid price? Yes. So, bollocks, I've not even looked at it, but I'm going balls deep on Ballyadam. He'll come there dick swinging. He travels well. You'll get it back to lay in there. Right, we'll move on to the mare's bumper.
You can't chop for shit, Dave.
Yeah, but don't worry about him. He's fine.
Castmate or Glan.
Right, you've got more knowledge than I have, to be fair. Right, the mare's bumper is an absolute peach this time round. It depends who's going to run, but I think this is fairly deep. For me, Bellatior is the one that's half sister to Altior, isn't it? But out of Walk in the Park. So basically, anything that's out of Walk in the Park, everyone's cooing about. Let's move on to Pink in the Park, that Bryony's ridden when she's been over to see Patrick for the weekend. Looks like an looks like a world, isn't it?
What goes on in Rachel Blackburn, Brian Hayes' house? Don't be telling everybody.
But people will argue that Pink in the Park's form hasn't really amounted to anything, has it? But the runner-up, Princess Sophia.
Well, the one in the stall, Dave. Look, people are cribbing because it's one at 20 minutes out the road from me, Listowel, and it was bought by the Black Bow crowd, I think it was. Yeah, I think it is. No, it's a Five Little Leary, but no, a different crowd bought it. Willie Mullins crowd.
The Mount Leinster lot.
Yeah. So it's cribbed because of the stone. Do you know what I mean?
I like her.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm only 20 minutes away from the stall. We have a 7-day. They have a 7-day harvest festival like Galway, 7 days, and people forget about the quality of racing. But I'm not buying into her. Good time at the stall, but the stall's a greyhound track, in my opinion.
Who wins it then?
Harmonia Maker.
Got beat on bumper debut.
But the horse that I thought would win the race is not run. The Model Kingdom that beat it. So Harmonia Maker is an absolute certainty here. Absolute certainty. To get out stakes, this horse is going to win.
The thing I get it, and a lot of people have mentioned it, but the thing I can't get my head around is, and like, this is very loose, but she won on heavy ground, and I'm very reluctant to trust heavy ground winning margins.
Go back. It was beaten by the Model Kingdom up a hill in Navan on good ground. It was only beaten a length and a half. Harmonia Maker is an absolute fucking good thing. My nap at a good price on the Sunday. Get out stakes, jail with Harmonia Maker.
See, so my view on the race is I think Pink in the Park is good, and I like the way that the yard have talked about it a little bit. And again, that's buying into stuff that's more than just form. But I like Pink in the Park. Yes, she's very short, but I would probably, again, if I had a bet in the race, I would probably be backing her. The one that I would be backing as a saver isn't Hum On Your Maker. It's the same connection as Liberty Dance. I thought her win was filthy at Fairy House in December. Like, she just bolted up. I think the Racing Post rating stacks up as well. She wasn't particularly fancied either that day. Like, for a Gordon Elliott horse to go off at 3-1 on a bumper, admittedly it's a Gordon Elliott horse as a favourite with Jamie Codd, but Gordon Elliott, Jamie Codd on a race that hasn't got Willie Mullins in it, if they go off at 3-1, that's the equivalent of a 25-1 winner as far as I'm concerned. So I think she maybe did more than they expected. The thing is, because connections have got the two of them, are they going to run against each other? Who knows? But I would hope that they do. And if they do run against each other, I think that's testament to the fact that Liberty Dance isn't the no hope that the price maybe suggests she is. And she'd be the one that I'd be wanting to back. So I'll have to wait for final decks. But if Liberty Dance is in the race, I'll have a win saver on that. But I'll be back in Pink in the Bar.
Okay.
Screw your dog track.
Hum On Your Maker.
Bullshit.